I've been in insurance now for almost like 16, 18 years. So a super long time. But for 8 years of my origination in the business, I was an admin. So I was processing apps, I was getting medical records, I was answering phones, I was doing all those kinds of things. And this was at a previous company. And I was looking around and it was way, I mean, you think it's male dominated now, 20 years ago, it was insanity. So I'm looking around at the guys that I was working with at the time, and I'm thinking, most of you like are boxes of rocks. Like they're like, it's difficult to have conversations with these guys, and they're out there making money. And I'm doing all the work because I'm talking to their clients. I'm keeping the business on the books. And it just got to a point where I'm like, I want to do this. Like, why am I sitting back here processing when, I know I can do what you do and I could probably do it better. So that was like the big thing for me. And I had a fantastic mentor, and he was just awesome. And he's like, just follow you. Like, nobody, when you come into this business, here's the thing, like, you're all on this call right now. There are 55 of us on this call. You chose this. You chose this career. You chose insurance. Congratulations. It is the best and worst job you'll ever have. Like, it's both. And it can be the same in one freaking week. One week you're going to be like, yeah, dude, this is the best job ever. The next week you're crying and it's miserable and you're pissed off and everybody's stupid. Like, that's this job, but you picked it. You chose it. You also chose a career that is over 150 years old. So when this career started, when this business started, not a single one of you on this call had the right to vote.
Right.
Do you get that? This business has been around for so long, and it has been male dominated forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge to think about. So when you are doing this, like, you have to understand the industry that you're in. So you are shattering ceilings that were never even supposed to be above your head. You were never even supposed to be on the runway with these freaking guys. And now you're crushing it. Watching what Chrysalis is doing, like, literally makes my heart so big, because there's no stopping any one of you on here. Nothing is going to hold you back, right? But I think it's important to recognize what you do. Like, you have chosen a male-dominated industry. Own it. Understand it. And if you understand it, I promise you, your path through this will be a lot smoother, because you can accept and understand things that you're willing to accept and understand. And then things that shouldn't be accepted or understood, you can call it out. You can say, yeah, we're not going to play that game anymore. It isn't 150 years ago, right?
That's right.
So I think it's a really big deal to recognize what you chose. Welcome to it. It's awesome. It's awesome. And once you start to compete at a high level, once you start to produce at a high level, build at a high level, recruit at a high level, earn that respect from yourself, not from everybody else, but from yourself, your business transcends in a way you cannot even imagine at this point. So I think it's important to recognize that. Like, you don't
love that.
You can't just walk into it thinking that this is going to be one way, because it's not. It's still going to be. I mean, where I was before, they brought new meaning to good old boys. I mean, it was gross, for lack of better terminology.
Let's unpack that, because you and we had a great conversation earlier today. I wish that these ladies could have been a fly on the wall in our conversation earlier. But let's unpack that. I was going to share just quickly for me. I came from corporate America, banking and finance background, and then literally was headhunted by a government contracting company and did government contracting work for about 10 years. And I can't tell you the countless number of meetings, boardrooms, places that I've been where I was not only just the minority, but also like the only female in there, right?
Yep.
And so the boys club is a real club. I'm not talking about this YMCA membership. I'm talking about guys advocating for guys, right? Unpack that for me about being a boss, like, and you're sitting in the middle of the boys club, right here, because you saw it. You saw it from an admin level, and now you're in the front seat. Talk about a little bit about that transition and just how we as women can definitely be the boss in the boys club.
Yeah, I think, again, I think it comes down to starting to understand yourself a little bit and understanding what you're willing to put into your business, what you're willing to do, because I was in the same boardrooms. I mean, I was in those rooms where I would share an idea and then it would get presented to the company as my boss's idea. And I just was like, wait, I don't, how does that even happen? And so I think that's, that kind of stuff happens. It still consistently happens. The difference in this is when you start this business and you're running it for yourself, the first thing you do is production. And I guarantee you, Priscilla, we talked about this earlier, I've never opened up a CRM. I've never called a lead vendor. I've never done anything where it said women's leads and men's leads. I buy the same mother stinking leads that every guy in this business buys. They're mine. I own them. I get to run them my way. I don't get special leads or different leads because I'm a woman. So when you are doing this, and there is that room full of guys, you compete at the same level. Don't lower yourself. It's the same mother stinking lead. You don't, I used to get that question all the time. How is it different being a woman when you're running business? It's not. It's not. I don't get different leads. I get the same opportunities. Now, does that mean my role is the same in this life? Absolutely not. Because my role is different. My role is different because I'm a woman, but I don't get different leads. I don't get different opportunities when it comes to buying them. I have the same platforms. You all have the same platforms as every dude you'll ever work with, right?
Yeah.
So it's important that you recognize that, and you don't allow the good old boys to run your business. Okay. Suggestions, advice, things like that. That's going to happen, right? But it's going to happen whether you're running a business for yourself or whether you're, flagging on the highway. Someone's going to tell you what to do or give you advice. Your choice is to take it, right? And your choice is how you take it. That's the big thing that I learned when I was, I have always been the type of female too, that I'll hang out with the guys, I'll hang out with the girls. I can chameleon through that, right? I've always been that way through middle school, high school, whatever. It didn't matter. College, I always had a lot of guy friends. The difference is when you start communicating at a high level, you have to pay attention to who listens. If they don't listen, walk away. They're not important to your business anymore. If they do not value you as an equal, as a competitor, as a progressive person in your own business, you don't need them. You don't need them. If they like, I have had to, in this business, I have had to limit conversations to minutes, like 30 seconds, a minute, because I'm not going to allow you to get me to a point where I'm emotional, where I'm frustrated, where I feel bad about myself. I don't let you do that to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that anymore. And I think that, sometimes in the dial rooms, right? I mean, there can be some toxic scenarios in those rooms, male or female, right? Sometimes it is just some blatant toxic masculinity, if you ask me. But I don't have to be in that room. I can move on. I don't need to put that into my business or my world, and I can move on from that. And I think that that's really important. But let's talk about what that means when you do that. So when you do that, when you are like, hey, let's not talk to our clients that way, or, you know, hey, I don't appreciate being coached like that. Can you try it this way? And you don't get that, you know, the good response. You have to stay firm in what you need from your mentors, from your leaders. Okay. Now, are you going to get called a bitch? Absolutely. Absolutely. Are you going to be told you're too emotional? Are you going to be told to calm down? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are. So your choice there, and I told Crystal this morning, choose your bitch.
That's
Choose
right.
it.
That's
Pick
right.
which one you want to be. Do you want to be, and I know this is recorded, so maybe we don't like post it everywhere, but Sean says the F word, so I'm okay to say bitch a couple times.
It's okay.
Right? You have to choose it. You have to decide if you're going to be this cowering person, or if you're going to say, hey, I need this from you. I'm communicating well what I need. And if you can't handle that, I'm going to move on to someone that can handle that. Now, does that make me a bitch? No. That makes me the type of person, not woman, but person who knows what they need. And it doesn't like, I just think like I get that a lot of times. I have people tell me on a constant how intimidating I am. I'm not intimidating. I promise you, I'm the sweetest human being ever. If I ever meet you, I'll probably feed you because that's what I do. I love to feed people. It's my heart. It makes me happy. But at the same time, I'm going to be direct with you. Now, how you perceive that, that's on you. That's on you. I'm not intimidating. I'm not a bitch, but I am going to tell you directly how things go. Have I sat down at a kitchen table with a older couple and said to the husband, don't say no to me. Look at her and tell her you don't love her enough to do this. Yeah, I have done that because it's true, right? And again, I'm going to choose that bitchiness over, you know, just being, you know, closed off and not coachable and things like that, because that also makes you kind of bitchy, right? So I think it's important that, again, you understand, like, because we'll put up boundaries sometimes as people, we'll put up boundaries that don't need to be there. And I think sometimes as women, we do that a little bit more often because we can see it coming, right? Like we see it from a mile away, like, oh my God, I can walk through this and eventually you're going to say this to me and I'm going to lose my shit. Like I'm going to come on corked at you, right? So we can see it coming. And by the way, it always does it. Like it always gets there. But I think we get to decide and we get to walk backwards and we get to say, okay, I know it's going there. Let's go this direction instead. And I think that's kind of the hardest part about this business, because you want to be able to BS and you know, and do all those kinds of things. But at the same time, what you say will be perceived differently. It just will. It will. And that's our cross to bear. Like it's a blessing, it's a curse, it's all the things. But if you don't understand that, if you don't want to understand that, this will be a lot freaking harder for you. It will. You can't stand on a platform and cry about it because that's not going to get you anywhere. What you can do is stand on a platform and say, this is what I need. This is who I am. Do not make me feel bad for who I am. That is not how this business or how we grow. And I want to grow. Does that make sense? Like you can't.
Absolutely.
I think sometimes
Absolutely.
that's what we do is we, you know, we allow a lot of things and we don't really have to, and we don't have to, you know, we don't have to be the bitch. We can choose which side of that post to be. And
Exactly.
I think that's how you really get people, number one, to follow you. And here's the other thing. Okay. So you're going to start finding success in this business. If you put in the effort, if you put in the time, you're going to find success, right? You finding success will not change every other responsibility that you have. That is what happens. Honestly, that's what happens if you're a man. When a man starts finding greater success, they start having less responsibilities in their life. That won't happen for you. You will still be responsible for groceries, for dinner, for making doctor's
That's right.
appointments, for making sure your kids get home, for all of those things. And my husband is a great man. He's a wonderful man. But my responsibilities when I started this business and he was working at the DOT, I would get home late and my kids would say, "What's for dinner?"
For dinner.
And I had been running for 11, 12, 13 hours.
Yep.
Okay. Didn't make Dan not a good man or a great husband. It just was my role. And it was something that I had built and my family was used to it. And now I'm running 15-hour days. I'm still making dinners. I'm still making sure everybody's where they were and needed to go. And I'm exhausted. And it didn't, like, my role didn't change. I still had to be that version. I just had to add something else. Stephen Yee said it a while ago. He said, "Man, when I leveled up in my business and I went to the next level in my business, I didn't get rid of my other problems. I just added new ones."
New ones. Yeah.
Right? That's what you got to do as a woman. You do. You're still going to have to be all the things to everybody, and it's freaking hard. It is hard. And if you are running this at any level right now, just tell yourself congratulations, because it's hard. It is difficult. It is difficult. It's hard to try and get to the stinking gym. It is hard to try to look good. It's hard to keep the kids fed. It's hard to make sure they're eating nutritious. It's hard to date if you're single and you're dating, because God only knows, I'd shoot myself. That would be terrible if I was trying to run this business and date. Dear Lord. Do you know what I mean?
Girl.
Like, there's so much. And we don't, and by the way, we don't get enough credit. None of you on this call are getting the appreciation you freaking deserve. None of you. And I promise that. Doesn't mean the people around you are terrible people. Doesn't mean anything. What it means is that, God damn it, we are tired. We are working. We are trying to build something. We are surrounded by people that are not like us. And we are still running at a high capacity and no one notices.
Yep.
No one notices how exhausted you are. They just expect more because you should be able to do more. You're a woman.
That's right. You're right. We're the doctors, we're the attorneys, we are the counselors, we're the pediatricians, we're the nurses, right? We're the cooks, we're the admins, you know,
dry cleaner,
we are
all of it.
I mean, we're the mechanics, I like the technicians, girl, you name it. I have learned to be, especially now being divorced, I have learned so many skills and trades that I never wanted to adopt, right? But like you said, our role does not change. And it's frustrating, right? And I know all these ladies, this is the ladies' call. So first of all, we all can relate. It does not matter if you're 20 or 60. Like, we all can relate because we are all at some form or fashion in that bubble of having all these expectations, but you still have to maintain you. And being a boss, like, I love it when I, hear, oh, I'm a boss chick, I'm this. I even have right on my desk, I found this. It says, I don't know if y'all can see it. It says, "Fabulous is a full-time job." Like, all these affirmations and empowerment statements that we have that are surrounded by women. And, I like it. Like every bit of it. Why? Because when we read it, when we see it, when we look at it, it's a reminder for a self-talk for us. I am a boss. I am that chick. Yeah, fabulous is a full-time job. I'm a rock star. Even if you don't feel it, reading it, saying it, getting those empowerment words back into yourself. I love what you said. There are no parameters. And just because, as a matter of fact, I'm even going to go so far as to say, and I think I told you this before, Tiffany, we are the bomb. We are all that, because guarantee you, listen, I got a son, he's 24. He's been around me all his life. And I have taught that boy to do so many things, and he still can't multitask to save his life. And I'm a
It's not a
daggone
gift
good
they were given. It's just
not
not.
that's not their gift, right? My ex-husband, he couldn't do it. He got tunnel vision bad. Y'all know who my ex is. I mean, it's just bad. It's good and bad, right? But we can't have that, air quote. We can't,
Yeah.
we're not allowed, right? But we don't have any parameters. We really don't. The sky truly is the limit for us. And like you said, we can choose and, hey, be unapologetic about it, right? So
Yeah.
I love the fact that, I'm happy, trust me, I am, that you do have your husband and, he's doing his thing. But for us single ladies who don't have that support, or technically in the house, I don't know if you want to call it support. There sometimes, I know in my 21 years of marriage, it was just another child that I had at times, and ladies, I know we can all, and the ladies like, yep, you know. But that's the
True.
reason, one of the visions or the things that I really wanted for this call is that, first of all, this is a safe haven, ladies. I'm just going to put it right out there. It's a safe haven. I'm not bashing any guys. I love the guys. Don't get me wrong. They definitely, can be our rock. They bring value in their role and everything that they do for us. Cool, get it, check. But honey, this is a call. This is a woman's call. Okay. we really want to unpack and peel back those layers on not just the struggle and the challenges, but how to overcome it, how to
Yeah.
really get to that place where we know that we can totally achieve and go great heights and do all the things that we need to do by really identifying it and hitting it head on. So tell me, Tiffany, what are some of your key identifiers that that really separates you as a female boss from the male boss counterparts? What are some of the attributes that you feel that we women, as women, naturally, I know you mentioned some things, but what are other attributes that you feel that we ladies really bring to the table in our role, especially in
So
this form?
honestly, I think that I used to talk with Andrew Taylor about this a lot, and he's like, man, sometimes I just think a woman's perspective in about like in an insurance appointment is so much more valuable, right? Because people want to be like, they don't want to be sold, they want to be told, they want to be understood, they want to be empathized with, they want to have a connection. Because I don't care what anybody says, especially if you're doing phone sales, you better find a way to put your emotion into this, because it's an emotional sale. They will never see it, they will never touch it, they cannot taste it, they need to feel it. And there is no one better equipped on this planet than y'all to go ahead and make people feel things. That's what we do. That is why, we are chosen and blessed to carry the children, because we are just more built for that side of this. So I think
Right.
when you are running your business and when you are doing things, understanding that and understanding that there are going to be, circumstances where you have to be more insightful. And like Crystal just said that her 24-year-old son can't multitask. I can be sitting at a table, or I can be on the phone, and I can start to hear nonverbal communication right off the bat, because I'm in tune with, I remember trying to listen to my babies breathing, making sure they were breathing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we are automatically built for this, in a better way, in my opinion. The
Mm-hmm.
the the thing that sets me apart, I think, is genuinely my ability to do that and then to come at you very directly. And to
Mm.
me, that's something you get from the men in this industry, in this business, is the ones who do really well, Frank, Mark, these guys, they are going to come in directly at you. They fear nothing. They fear no one. They will tell you exactly your reality as they see it. And you have to find a way to do that as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do both. And once you do both, there is no one you cannot help with insurance. There isn't. Once you learn how to do both, because I've sat at, in lots of appointments with lots of the different, very, very good people in this business, in our company. And there's times where I'm like, did you not just hear what she said to you? Like, you were just so trying to get to your point, you forgot to listen at all to her, to your client. Right. And we have that gift. That is something that we all have in a much larger platform and way than most of the men in this business. And I think that when you are communicating at a higher level, that's where you really come into your own as a boss in this business. Because when you fear, because listen, that self-talk that you have with yourself, you don't have to BS me. 70% of it is you talking shit to yourself. You are not promoting yourself at all 70% of the time. Now, I know that because I do it myself. How am I going to get all this done? How am I going to write 3 policies today, get my kid to school, make sure dinner's ready, call this carrier, do this? You're like, how am I going to do it? And then there's that 30% of you that's like, I can do anything. I am superwoman. Here we were. I got it all. I can do it. But that's not equal, right? You're not even a 50-50 when you're talking to yourself, right? Like, I'd be happy if we could all get to 60-40. We'd be more productive. We would give ourselves a little bit of goddamn grace. Like, we don't do that. How often as a woman in business do you ever give yourself any grace? Just any acceptance of the fact that maybe today wasn't your day. Maybe you got too emotional with a client, or you didn't get on the phone when you wanted to because life took you in a different direction and you had to focus on that. Like, do you give yourself any grace for what you have on your plate? And by the way, you're probably not asking anybody to take anything off your plate either, right? We are innately handicapped by our need to do it all.
You mean to tell me that I can take something off my plate? What? Who knew, right?
I know, and it's just crazy because we don't want to ask for help. We don't, but like I said, nothing about your role in your life changes when you start finding success in insurance sales and building a business. It doesn't. What changes is you. And you need to surround yourself with people that can help you do that. Not tear you down. Because here's the thing. The reality is people want success for their friends and their family as long as you're not more successful than them. That's a fact. Your friends are rooting for you to fail a little bit. Maybe not a lot, because they're probably awesome people.
Tiffany, say it again.
That's true. It is true. They want you to succeed just as long as it's not better than them.
Yeah.
And that is how.
Girl, I'm sorry. I gotta jump in. I feel like double dutch, right? Do you think, or do you feel that the guys really root for us? One, and two,
No.
And secondly, if they are rooting for us, or if yes or no, well, do you think they're really rooting for us? Number one. And secondly, is it okay if we are just, they're rooting for us, but is it okay or better if it's that we're still just under them a little bit?
Okay, so let's go to the first one. Do I think they're rooting for us? As much as they can, yes. I don't think they necessarily want failure, especially if you work with them, because your success is their success, right? You ever seen anybody go up on stage and talk about how they built and made this fantastically successful woman? Yeah, it happens all the freaking time, right? So I had to with Dan, my husband's Dan, when he started selling and doing really well, he was not competing with anyone else but me. He wasn't. And he'll tell you, I had to look at him and say, I'm not your freaking competition. I don't want to compete with you.
Right.
That's innate. So was he rooting for me? Not, I mean, he was, because I changed our life when I started this, and he was able to come in and do it with me as well. And now it's awesome. But no, he wants to beat me. They want to beat you. They do. That is just a fact. It's not, and I don't take it personal, but they do. They want to make sure that they're just this much ahead, and your goal should be that much, to be that much ahead of them, right? Like, it shouldn't, I think in that circumstance, like, I think you have to believe, if you want to find success in this, you have to believe that the people around you are rooting for you. If they're not, if you know they are not, get the hell away from them. You find better people in your corner and you do it right now. Does that make sense? Like, you control that stuff. God, I'm gonna cuss a lot. I'm so sorry. You control that. You control that. Nobody else out there controls that. You do. If they are not rooting for you, get away from them. Find your circle. Like, I am super blessed to have a fantastic group of women in my life. They are not in this business, but they run their own business, real estate. One puts people in nursing homes and stuff. They're amazing. They're fantastic women. They're my support. They're my circle, because when I get to a point where I am exasperated, where I don't want to come home and talk to Dan about the issue paid report anymore, and I just need to get away from it. And that's like, if you guys are trying to do this together with like your significant other, believe me, find a timeout zone. Get the hell away from each other, because it's exhausting. At 11:30 at night, we would be having conversations about what so-and-so wrote. How do we help this person? There was never an end to it. And it got really bad for us. It got super toxic. We were at each other's throat all the time. So if you want to build this together, take some time out, because everything you do, you don't have a set schedule. You make your own, right? You run the business, you know, all the same people, you have no separation. It gets insane and it gets so heavy. And like, we had to unload it. We had to like our kids were like, hey, no more talking about anybody from work after 7 o'clock if you guys are home together, because a lot of times we weren't, because we were running. But that's important. And I do think that innately, like, if we're just getting back to, again, 150 years ago, when we would all be in kitchens and shit, there was no challenge for more success from your significant other or from a woman. They don't know how to handle it. They don't. And I want to give some grace to our male counterparts as well, because this is new. I mean, like, we were on that stage in conference, and the very first female ever to write $1 million, and I bet you none of you really know her name. I know Shadi's name. I know Juan's name. That's a freaking problem. That's not a problem. Like, these are things that like, if we want to make big changes, if we want to promote who we are, what we stand for, all those kinds of things, we have to do it, number one, in a way that is not abrasive. It's not, it needs to be understanding, because like I said, like, this industry has never been dominated by women, and it's 200 years old. So we can't just expect for all of a sudden for there to be this big, like, oh no, you guys know everything, because that's just never going to happen. The only thing we can do is promote each other, promote within, talk kindly and appreciatively all the time, because that will catch on. You will find those guys that you don't feel like are rooting for you. You'll find them saying the things that your female counterparts are saying.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. I mean, if you've ever been married or in a relationship, you know that the significant other never had an original thought. It always came from you, and you just helped them think it was theirs.
Girl, say it
So
again.
that's what we're doing here,
That's all.
right?
Conversation, right?
I just like, I think we have to joke about it too. I think we have to be like, again, you will never buy a lead that says woman only.
That's right.
You won't. You will never get that. You will never have someone that just says, you know, I only sold to women. Why would you do that? You pigeonhole yourself into not helping a lot of people. And it's the same when you're recruiting. Do you want to recruit like-minded women like yourself? Absolutely. But you can't walk away from the fantastic men that are out there that can be phenomenal at this.
Exactly.
You want to partner with everyone. And the difference you have to make, I think, in your businesses, Crystal, is you have to say, I'm going to be better than what I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be better than what you see. If you don't like the way you see women being treated, treat them better. If you don't like the way men talk in a room, talk better. That's how we come together and we make this. We have 50% men on the stage and 50% of women on the stage at conference. And not because we should make it equal, but because we freaking earned it.
Right.
And we have something to say that will help people find success in this business. I mean, that's what we want. That's what I want. I want to come on this call with Jesus, 70 people now, and have people be excited to get off the phone and be appreciative of each other, be understanding and empathetic, and care about how people are succeeding and why they're succeeding, not gatekeep shit because they want to be better than you. Like, I have agents that were like gatekeeping stuff for me, and I thought, this is insanity. Where did we go wrong? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, why would you ever do that? You have to be confident enough in yourself to say, hey, I want Crystal to win just like I want myself to win.
Yeah.
You know, and is jealousy natural? Hell yes. Hell yes.
Yeah.
Should you feel a little tinge of jealousy when somebody does better than you? Yes, because it drives you. It drives you. It should make you want to be better. It should not make you want to make them feel bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
that's a huge difference in those things. Like, I think, again, when you're in a home or when you're on the phone and you're talking to a couple, I think, like, you have to lead, guide, and direct. Like, I can lead, guide, and direct just like any man can. I can get you to where I need you to be. And if you're struggling with that, talk about it. Like, find out why people are not following you when you're in an appointment. That's why I think a lot of people fail too, is they struggle with lead, guide, and direct. Like, Crystal, when you were making appointments, that was one of the things we talked about. I'm like, man, your tone is great. People like talking to you, but you don't get there. You don't get them to the point. Right. And that's a big deal. I think if you're doing phone sales too, I think we're better at it. I think we're better on the phone. Like, my clients used to be like, dude, I was going to open the door for you because you mom voiced me. Like, you just told me you were coming. And I was like, okay, okay, she's coming. That sounds great. Like, use your mom voice if you got kids. If not, use the voice you yell at your siblings with, right? Use that voice.
I so remember that. Coaching is so funny because I'm laughing now and I know my team is on and they're like, no way Crystal did that. Oh yes, way, because that is so not me now. Now I am definitely that one to say, hey, be direct. Let's get there. Let's do it. And I love what you said. Empathy, well, I translated it. Empathy is our asset. Right? It's our asset, ladies. You know, I am empathetic. And I don't mind. There have been times, and my team can tell you, there have been times that I've been on Zoom and I've just broke down crying, and I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all. But this is serious for me. This is sensitive. I'm giving you me right now. And I don't have a problem with that because Crystal has definitely grown to love